Good morning. How are you all? And welcome to Mom Up. This is the last Mom Up in this month of May. We've been celebrating moms since the first. I hope you have good memories of May 2023, and I hope you are celebrated. So come on in and invite your friends, invite other moms so that we can close this month together in a celebratory mode with this interesting topic that I have for you today. But before that, I would like to cue the intro so that we can start together. Yeah, let's do this. Let's do this. Yeah, so how are you feeling about May? I hope you are spoiled to bits. And it's not that we should just be spoiled as moms during the month of May. It should be an every time occurrence. But here it is, the world has set aside May for us. So let's take it, let's enjoy it, and let's use it maximally. Thank you for those who are coming in. Please say hello. And I'm so excited to be with you. So our conversation today on Mom Up, which is all about talking about personal growth for mothers, is quite interesting. It's about I'm better than you. And when you think about it, there's somebody in your life, whether they are close to you, far from you, who has made you just feel little and small and having nothing. Um, and they always keep taunting you with I'm better than you, I'm better than you, I'm better than you. And that's the conversation that we're having today. And I just want to share a story of two mothers. They are very well known, they're from the Bible, but I hope that the insight that I'm going to give, the perspective that I'm going to share in relation to personal growth is going to be of benefit for you. So as other mothers come in, share, remind them, let me introduce myself. I am Wairimu, the Audacity Mentor. I am a Christian-based mom mindset and life mentor, and I'm also an author. And I work with moms like you who are prioritizing personal growth. And the reason I love working with moms prioritizing personal growth is they already want to grow. They've already accepted I'm not where I desire to be. I know that there's much more that God has put in me that I can do. And so I love moms who are already there. But even if you're not there yet, it's a good place to start. So the reason why we work with moms, I particularly help them build bankable brands, whether it's a personal brand or a business brand, and they can design a life they desire and that God approves. And they do all this without compromising faith or family, which is in this world, it's almost strange that we are able to say that, but it is okay to stand on values that are important to you. So that's me. Even as we are being joined by more people, I am streaming on LinkedIn, I'm streaming live on YouTube, and also here in my official page on Facebook. So I just want to welcome each and every one of you from any of those platforms, and also those who have to work at this particular time and so will catch the replay. I have you in my heart. Thank you so much that you've even made time to watch the replay. But I hope that the discussion will be helpful to you. So, like I said, I'm an author. My book is Wired Weird. And as I would teach my ladies, it's so important to take your flowers when they're given to you. So my book won an Akaba Award, which is an African Christian Authors Award last year in the category of history and biography. And not a small feat, so I'm very, very thankful to God for that. I get to share my story, my personal story of how I discovered God's cues, clues, and calling in my story. And so from the feedback that I've gotten from those who are reading, which is really what was my prayer, is that you don't necessarily live with my story, is that when you finish reading the book, you live with your story. Because as you're reading mine, you're reflecting through yours. And that's part of coaching, is that I help you reflect. And the more you reflect, the more you start seeing areas that need growth. And that's where the mindset work starts to happen. So if you don't have a copy yet, if you have my number, reach out. I can get it delivered and a signed copy at that. If not, Nuria, usually it's an online bookshop. They have stocked my book, and the Akaba as well have my book. So make sure that you get yourself a copy. I'm very proud of it. So before I go ahead, I want to do something. I want to give a disclaimer, funny disclaimer, but it is the time. So I'm going to give it anyway. Number one, I'm not a theology student or teacher. which means I've not studied theology. I'm not a pastor. So I love just reading the Bible as a child of God. Yes, I may study the Bible just to know what the word is saying, but I'm not a theology student, neither am I a theology teacher. So there are some things I may not know that are deeper that a theology student or teacher would know. So in case you're one, please educate us, um, as opposed to saying I don't know. Just feel free. I love learning. It's part of personal growth. So just let us know if there's something that's not sound that I could have said, even as the Lord forgives me. But I just love stories in the Bible because these are regular people who did regular things who we can relate with today, and yet they overcame. The second thing is because we are learning about two women who are married to one man, I do not endorse polygamy. Yeah, it's good for me to say that early on so that even as I share this story, because I've realized that even as we are going forward in life, in technology, people are going backwards and saying some things are right. I do not endorse polygamy. All right. Okay. So our topic for today is I am better than you. And as I started this broadcast, I was saying there's somebody in your life who just makes you feel they're better than you are. And they make you feel tiny and small, whether it's something they've said, whether it's just the how they say it. There are those who are brave, they say it to your face, those who say it through others, or through posts. Nowadays, technology, you just feel attacked. And that's not abnormal. It happens to many people. But at the end of this broadcast, my hope is even as I tell you to mom up and um, invest in your personal growth for yourself, is that you live here knowing it's not about who's better than the other person. Get to know yourself and what God requires of you. And I hope that you'll be encouraged through today's story. So we are delving into the book of First Samuel. That's where I'm getting my text for today. And so we are going to be encouraged through Mama by these two ladies, Peninnah and Hannah. And they were both married to the same man. And I think we know more of Hannah, less of Peninnah. But at the end, because like I said, I help moms build brands. And so we're going to see what was the brand that Peninnah had and what was the brand that Hannah had. Because at the end, moms, please remember, even if you're not conscious, you're already a brand. There's something people already say about you. So those who taunt others, there's a brand that people say about you. So at the end, will you be a Peninnah or will you be a Hannah? My hope is that you're going to choose to be a Hannah at the end. Again, I said this story is known. If you just Google it, you're going to see different things said about it. I hope that our mom up conversation is going to give you just a different perspective. One thing that ladies who come to my classes know, we use Bible references a lot. We just use lives of ordinary people and we see how can we apply the lessons that are in their lives in our own lives today. So I hope that through our short conversation today that you're going to be encouraged. So like I said, our reading for today is going to come from 1 Samuel 1, 6 to 20. So I've broken it into chunks so that we share, like what do these first three verses, what can they teach us in this topic of it's better than you. All right, so allow me to go ahead and read. And as you come in, please say hi so that I can acknowledge you. So this is what it says. So Peninnah would taunt Hannah. She would taunt Hannah, and I've underlined keywords. So Peninnah would taunt Hannah and make fun of her because the Lord had kept her from having children. Year after year, it was the same. Peninnah would taunt Hannah as they went to the tabernacle. And each time, Hannah would be reduced to tears because she would not even eat. Why are you crying, Hannah? Elkanah would ask. Elkanah is her husband. Why are you not eating? Why be downhearted just because you have no children? You have me. Isn't that better than having 10 sons? So just from those three verses, there's so much to capture. Peninnah making fun of Hannah and taunting her. Hannah reacting by being reduced to tears and even not eating. And if you've been in such positions, for real, you can be able to relate. When you're being taunted, somebody is making fun of you, somebody is demeaning you, somebody is humiliating you, somebody is feeling you feel so bad because they want to feel so elevated and to make you feel so tiny and small. Hannah was reduced to tears. and would not even eat. And here is the thing, it wasn't once, it was year after year after year. And even when she's getting encouragement from her husband, she's not having it. Yeah. Because Hannah was really loved. And so, for those who are not very familiar with these two people, allow me to just give a little backstory. So, Peninnah was less favored, which means she wasn't as loved by Elkanah the way he loved Hannah. So, Peninnah really did not like that. Her husband, and she's the one who had children. And that time, it was such a patriarchal culture. So, two things to make you the best brand of a woman was, number one, you married into a very good family, and number two, you had children, especially sons. So Peninnah had a tick on both. She had a good husband, Elkanah, and the Bible doesn't tell us how many children she had, but she bore Elkanah children, and she had sons in the mix. And yet, even with all that, she could taunt Hannah. And so Hannah was childless, and so she just brought grief and disharmony to the household. She kept mocking Hannah because she was infertile. And every year when Elkanah went for the sacrifices in Shiloh, what he did is he treated his wife so nicely. And even though Hannah didn't have her own children, he made sure to give her a double portion. And of course, what does that mean? Peninnah was very jealous because she had the children that Elkanah would have desired together with his wife Hannah. So Peninnah would just taunt Hannah for being childless, and she would just make her, just in everyday things, just make her grieve. She wouldn't give her time. She would just um, take pains to remind her all hours of the day. And, like, you do not have children and I have children, because that's how people who feel they are better than you are always throwing the things that they have that you do not have, or things they have that are maybe a upgrade higher than you. They keep on reminding you that they are better than you. And that's what Peninnah was doing. Peninnah kept reminding Hannah that she's childless, as if she did not know that she was. So in my classes, we do something called in-session activities. And in-session activities is where we pause and we do these exercises that I give at the moment. We don't prepare for them in advance. So I want you to do the same. I want to give you an in-session exercise. You may not answer here, but please answer in the quietness of where you are. If you feel like you want to be bold and say, but it's nice to also honor, your story. I would rather these questions that I'm asking, let them be private. Other things we can share. Who is taunting you? Who has been taunting you? And about what have they been taunting you? Because there's somebody who came to mind when you had the topic, I'm better than you. So who is that person, or persons, because it could be more than one person? And what are they taunting you about? What are they, bringing to your face? What are they making you feel? You don't have this like us, what is that? And for how long have they been doing this? For some of you, it's a short time. For some of you, it's a longer time. But just write down. Don't just think it in your head. Part of mindset work is moving information from mind to paper. And how do you usually react? As you're answering these questions, who has been taunting Hannah? It's Peninnah. About what? Because she was barren, she was infertile, she did not have a child. For how long? Many, many, many years. You see, Hannah and Elkanah had been married for 10 years before Peninnah came into the picture. So if she already had children at this point, it means it's been many years of Hannah not having children. And like the Bible told us, it is the Lord who did not allow her to have children. And how did she react? We are told that every year, every time, she was not eating, she was not eating, and she was not, and she was just crying all the time. So what about you? Who's been taunting you? About what have they been taunting you? How long have they been taunting you? And how do you usually react? Because my hope is, as we say, we are going to mum up today, just leave this place when you've just left it on paper and start healing and start praying over your life. So that's the first in-session exercise that I'm going to give you today, even as we move along. Here's the thing, when you're thinking about your own life, part of the exercise we are doing today is just making you understand what's your current positioning. Where are you at in life right now? Maybe the person who is saying they are better than you have gone further ahead, and I don't want us to dismiss that sometimes those people taunting us have really done well. Don't dismiss that they've done well, because then that would be, blinding, and that would be too prideful. Yeah. But you know yourself. What is your current life positioning? Are you happy with where you're at? Where do you desire to be? In my courses, we call them current positioning and desired positioning. There is where you are, there is where you desire to be. For Hannah, she was in a happy marriage, but she did not have children and she had a tormenting co-wife. Yeah. What did she want? She really wanted a child. And we're going to see what it is that Hannah did so that she can work closer towards her desired positioning. Here's the thing, ladies, when we're saying that we are having conversations around personal growth happens in the middle. You see that line, the dotted line? That's where personal growth happens. We assume things will go straight, but they don't always go straight in that way. I remember when we were newlywed and now we were ready to have babies. It took so long. And we were like, how is it that teenagers, the ones who may not want a child immediately, get the children? I'm sure there's somebody who can relate. Or something that you wanted for a long time. The person who keeps keeping jobs, they keep getting jobs. They're the ones who don't fully work. And yet you who is faithful at work, you're not able to get jobs. You who is faithful in your business, you don't pay people bribes, you don't pay a costly price. You want to do things faithfully. You're the one who is struggling. I know somebody can feel Hannah because she was a nice person, because she did not respond to the taunts. So just think through by the end of this conversation, where are you? What do you desire? So that then you know if the things you're being taunted about, are they things you even want? Yeah. Um, my desire for you is that you don't miss the blessings. What blessings are you missing as you're waiting? When somebody tells you you don't have so many times, and they're saying, I'm better than you start concentrating. They divert you from heading to your current positioning. Yeah. But what are you missing in the meantime as you're waiting on God for that baby or that good job or that relationship or that property or that asset, whatever it is the baby represents in this story? What blessings are you missing? Hannah missed that she has a loving husband who treats her with favoritism in the open. He not only loves, he shows that he loves. And he even told her that, like, aren't I enough? Yeah, I'm more than having 10 sons. Like, he was content with his wife. What blessings are you missing, even as you're running, towards the thing that you desire, so that this person stops telling you and stops taunting you, stops telling you I'm better than you? What are you missing? What blessings are you missing in the meantime? My hope is that you're going to refuse to stay taunted. Yeah. Part of why you need to know, are you taunted by who, for how long, and how do you react, is so that you know, oh, this is for real. And then second is for you to be aware that as you're losing focus, as you're losing concentration, the stuff that God is giving you through this process that are good foundation for the thing that you really want. What blessing are you missing in the meantime? So I hope that you're doing all these in-session exercises so that I help you to mom up. Let's continue. Once after a sacrificial meal at Shiloh, Hannah got up and went to pray. Eli the priest was sitting at his customary place beside the entrance of the tabernacle. Hannah was in deep anguish, crying bitterly as she prayed to the Lord. And I want to stop there a little bit. See, the things that we want, we become so desperate for them. But I want you to be desperate for things you desire, not desperate for things other people desire of you. Yeah? Make sure that the things that you're in anguish for are things you want, are things you desire for your life, not things other people desire for you. For Hannah, she really wanted to be a mom. She wanted to be a mom above everything. And so the taunts were such constant reminders that she's not gotten the thing that she really desires. And so what I want us to learn through Hannah is, sometimes when you're desperate, you don't hit back at other people, you don't blame other people. It's time to go into radical praying and just trusting in the Lord. And so we are told, and she made this vow, even as she was praying, "O Lord of heaven's armies, if you will look upon my sorrow and answer my prayer and give me a son." Note that she asked for a son, just one, a child, a son. "Then I will give him back to you, and he will be yours for his entire lifetime. And as a sign that he will be, that he has been dedicated to the Lord, his hair will never be cut. His hair will not be cut. So she was pleading to God, just give me a son. Yeah, I'm not asking for more than one. Just give me a son. She was in deep anguish. So, ladies, what are you desperate? What's that thing that you really, really want? Not because other people want it for you. It's just something that you've been crying and believing the Lord for. Don't stop praying. Go with your anguish. Just go with your raw emotions before the Lord, because He listens to you and He's watching. He's not blinded. He's not closed off ears. He's not tired like maybe some friends or relatives who you're telling, I'm still waiting. No, just go to the Lord. I love that the Bible says that Hannah got up and went to pray. That thing that you're desperate for, imagine, get up and go after it. For her, her first thing that she did was to pray. All right. So she got up and she went to pray. What about you? What are you going to do in the situation that you're desperate for? In that desired positioning, what are those desires that you keep presenting to the Lord? What's the baby you still strongly desire for? When I'm helping the ladies to just come up with their goals, I always tell them it has to be meaningful. Meaningful. Because what we do is, if it's not meaningful, we won't be committed, we won't pursue, we won't feel anything if we don't achieve. But something meaningful, something you strongly desire, you'll go after it. And that's why there was anguish, because it's something she really, 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 really wanted. What about you? Have you given up praying? Don't do that. Keep praying. Take your anguish. Take your desperate situation before the Lord. Don't taunt back. Don't demean. Don't also be the one humiliating, and don't blame other people. Sometimes, even though other people could be at fault, don't want to share the pain. Yeah, because hurt people hurt people. So don't be on that other side. Don't go and cross over to the bitterness side. Peninnah's issue was the husband was showing favoritism. So she was just being mean to the wrong person. The person that she should have directed her problems or her pain is to her husband, who really loved Hannah. So what's the baby? Do you even know what you really, really, really want? Because that's when we are saying we are creating a life we desire. It's something we are very clear what we are going after, and our brand is what will help us achieve that. So what's the baby you still strongly desire for? You need to know that by the end of this. So that even if somebody is taunting you and saying, I'm better than you, if it's not something important to you, you should not be moved. But of course, if it's something they are reminding you constantly that you don't have, don't, don't be mean back. Just go with your anguish, go with your, like, God, how long will this continue for? Just go to the Lord. Imagine just the way you are. Don't pretend, because He can already see your heart. Just trust Him with your heart. Guard your heart, because what happens is we start having hate, we start having bitterness, and that's not a fruit of the Spirit. So let's not go there. And I talk as somebody who has had experience that way. Sometimes you can harbor hate until it graduates into bitterness. Don't allow it. So boring, it hurts you. If you just want peace, that surpasses all understanding. Imagine hang with God. He'll just take the burden. He'll swap. He'll give you light. He takes your heavy burden. All right. So what's the baby? Be clear what it is that you're trusting God to come through for you with. And so as she was in this posture of prayer, we are told as she was praying to the Lord, Eli watched her. Eli was in the tabernacle. He was the priest. Seeing her lips moving but hearing no sound, he thought she had been drinking. Must you come here drunk? He demanded. Throw away your wine. Oh no, sir, she replied. I haven't been drinking wine or anything stronger, but I have been very discouraged. I was pouring out my heart to the Lord. Don't think I'm wicked. I'm a wicked woman, for I have been praying out of great anguish and sorrow. In that case, Eli said, go in peace. May the God of Israel grant the request that you have asked him. Oh, thank you, sir. She told him. Then she went back and began to eat again, and she was no longer sad. So even as she was praying, there are people who are watching you, even in this space of your desperation. And it's not everybody who will understand. So don't want for everybody, don't play victim that everybody must understand your pain or the thing that you have been wanting. It's not everybody who is deserving of being near you in your time of sorrow or grief or pain. Just allow a close-knit family and people who God can use to grow you. In this case, Ellie was present, and I'm sure that was not by mistake. That was God who made sure that Ellie was there just to give her a word. Go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant the request that you have asked of him. She had never had that. While her husband was supportive, there's something about being encouraged by somebody else who had nothing to lose. And she really believed him because he was sent of God. And so for you as well, where are you going beyond the prayer? Where are you going? Who is your support system? Who are you trusting with your pain? Make sure that it's people who are happy to encourage you, people who are happy to carry this burden along with you. And we are told that in the end, when she was given this encouragement, she started eating again and she was no longer sad. And now, talking about that, what about you? Hannah chose to pray. And after she prayed and she felt she got Eli's encouragement, then she stopped worrying about the taunts. She stopped worrying about that. What about you? What are you going to do with the pain that you're feeling from people reminding you constantly they are better than you because they've advanced? They are where you had seen yourself. God can still take you there. If God has elevated them, be happy for them. This is the thing. If um, there are people who you see God elevating all the time, don't feel jealousy. Just they they and God will deal together. Don't be sad that God is blessing other people and not you. That's something that God has given them, and that's okay. You continue asking God for the thing that you desire, all right? So let's not be mean back. Let's do what Jesus says, we turn the other cheek. And how does that look like? How does turning the other cheek? It just means like don't turn back, don't humiliate, don't demean. Just treat people who are unkind to you with courtesy, kindness, and respect. Are they deserving? Not all the time, and not necessarily. But here's the thing, that's what God demands of us. Hannah was not mean back to Peninnah. Where she took her anguish is in the Lord's house. So what about you? What are you doing? She had a strong support system in Elkanah. What about you? Do you have a strong support system? Are you clear what baby it is that you want? Are you running to the Lord in prayer? Hide there. Imagine he'll sort you out. It may not be immediately, but he'll sort you out because he's seeing your heart. He's seeing your heart. All right. And so as we conclude till verse 20, we are told that the entire family, remember now she's eating, she's no longer sad. The entire family got up early the next morning and went to worship the Lord once more. Then they returned home to Ramah, and when Elkanah slept with Hannah, the Lord remembered her plea. And in due time, this is like amazing. After being taunted and being reminded, I'm better than you, I'm better than you, the Lord remembered her plea, and in due time she gave birth to a son, and she named him Samuel. And for she said, I asked the Lord for him. So what about you? What are you asking the Lord for? Whether it's in your business, in your career, in your family life, raising children, whatever it is, in relationships, whatever it is, whichever area, your health, your physical life, your spiritual life, growing closer to God, whatever it is, um, God had God had Hannah because she asked the Lord for him. So what's the baby that you're asking the Lord for? Will you believe? Yeah, will you believe? So it's such a nice thing to just see a mom who really prayed, because I know some of you have real experiences of Hannahs in your life, ladies who did not have children, and I'm sure they were taunted as well, because the assumption is as long as you're a woman, you must get children. There are those who are still being taunted. There was a story the other day of a 54-year-old lady who got children. So there's nothing that is impossible with God. And Hannah got to meet her baby boy because she prayed. She asked the Lord, do you know what you're asking the Lord? Or are you praying big, unspecific prayers? Like just ask the Lord for the thing that you want. He's seeing you, he's seeing your heart, he's seeing how desperate you are. Instead of being vengeful, instead of revenging, just go to the Lord with radical prayers. He may not answer immediately, but He'll guard your heart and he will give you the thing that you've been praying for. So when people say, I'm better than you. Is it real? Is it for real? And what I was thinking when I was answering this question for myself, I just said, yeah, it's a yes and a no. Yes, because you can see with your eyes that yes, the thing that you desire they have. Yeah. So again, like I said at the beginning, let's not pretend that people don't have some things that we desire of ourselves. So if they have, it's good for them, but that doesn't mean that God has forgotten you, because tunasema Mungu amenisahau. God has not forgotten you. He's given them, and that's cool. How they choose to react, whether they say, I did this by my own power, or they glorify God, that's their choice. So, yes, it's okay to acknowledge that somebody has something that you desire. But in the same instance, when they say they are better than you, it's because I say no because all of us are different. Yeah, God created us all different. Our life experiences are different, our life situations are different, our combined experience and abilities, capabilities, our perspective, personality, all that. I call it the odd factor in my classes. Nobody has your odd factor. You're just weird by yourself the way God created you. And sometimes that's to our immediate advantage or later advantage. So God knows. So even if somebody comes and says they are better than you, don't know the price that they are paying to be better than you. You don't know what they have done. If you can't walk in their shoes, then don't want to be them. The most you can do is be inspired. Be inspired by them. Is it something you want that they have? That's cool. Tell God you've blessed so and so. There's a song, a hymn we sing, do not pass me by. Just remind the Lord, do not pass me by. So don't feel bad when somebody says, I'm better than you. You could be feeling, yes, they are better than me, but you don't know what's going on with their life, or that's something that they really wanted. Remember, for Peninnah, her husband did not love her at all. So she just spent her days just taunting the woman her husband loved. She wasn't happy, she was miserable. So is that the life that you want, so that you get the thing that the person saying they are better than you have? I don't think I'd want to live such a life. Yeah. So as you wait on the Lord, be happy for the blessings He's already given you, even as you wait for the bigger, better thing that's more meaningful to you. All right. So don't be a Peninnah. Like I said, Peninnah had a brand. When you think of Peninnah, by the way, she was only in 4 verses in the Bible. Yeah. When you think of Peninnah, she was a second wife, an unloved second wife. And then she was a mother. Nobody knows how many children. The Bible does not care to tell us how many children she has. And then she's known as the tormentor of Hannah. That's her brand. When you think of Hannah, of Peninnah, that's who you think. So are you a Peninnah? I hope not, because you don't want to be remembered that way. You want to build a good brand. You want your personal brand to be strong and to have a good reputation. The Bible talks about a good reputation as being better than silver or gold. All right. And that's what I wish for you. Don't be a tormentor. And here's the thing, and a reminder, don't go bragging. Don't go bragging about what you have. Don't go telling people I'm better than you. Because today we are talking about being the recipient of the taunts, but I hope you're not taunting people as well. For by the grace of God given to me, I say to every one of you, not to think more highly of yourself and his importance and ability than he ought to think, but to think so as to have sound judgment, as God has apportioned to each a degree of faith and a purpose designed for service. All of us are designed for a specific service. The way you are, your experiences, your capabilities, your abilities, your perspective, your personality, like I said, that combination, that the one that uniquely qualifies you for your assignment, that is God given. And so when somebody is saying they are better than you, they are trying to say God's plan is not the best. Choose my choose my path and my plan. No, stick to God's plan and path. And if you see God is slowing, just go to Him. Take your anguish, your deep anguish to Him. I promise you, He's listening to you, right? So don't think of yourself more highly. In fact, if you know something that somebody doesn't know, teach them. Don't want to win yourself. We've been told over the years that women are their own worst enemies, because if I have something, I just want to taunt you and show you I'm better than you, as opposed to teaching you how you can get to the place that I am. But you know what? We are a different brand of women. We are a different brand of mothers. We are building each other up. That's something that you know that I don't know, you teach me. And something that I know, I get to teach you, and we get to build each other up. Our girls are watching, our sons are watching. Let's not be Peninnah's. Peninnah's kids were watching their mother, an unloved wife, a tormentor of her co-wife, and somebody who was just making the environment and the household just be boring and bad. Don't be that brand of a person. Yeah, don't be that brand of a person. And so, what are you supposed to do? Yeah, how do you then move on? Allow me to share these points even as we come towards the end. Thank you for those who have stayed with me. I think I have one comment. Allow me to share. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Fatma, for hanging with me, and others who I can see are around. Yeah, God can still take you there. I love that. Yeah. So, where do you move on? What do you do? Number one, do something about what you desire. Don't just be in that I desire, I want like Wairimus, I want like Wanjiros, I want like Fatmas, I want like Graces, I want. Don't be just in that place of wanting. You have to do something about what you desire. And remember, like I said, know your current positioning, know your desired positioning, and then seek God first. Hannah ran to God, and she poured her deep anguish to the Lord. So go there, because when you seek first the kingdom of God, He brings the other things, but He brings them at the right time when it's important for you. Remember, I said that the dotted line that was showing the connection between current and future positioning or desired positioning. Refinement, God refines you. I think today we call it character development. Yeah, there's some character development, and that's where personal growth is. God just refines you. He refines you. He chappers you in quotes. He's molding you. That's what he's doing. He's just molding you. He's fashioning you according to your assignment. And so some things he knows, if I give you now, you won't be a faithful servant. So sometimes he delays some things, but in the meantime, he's teaching you some things. He's allowing you to love the blessings of good friends, of good education, of good jobs, of maybe good finances. Like he's not just not giving you anything, like you're not empty. All right. So seek God first. And then when you're in pain, when you're in that place of desperation, don't pretend. Christians sometimes, yeah, we pretend that we are not hurting. It's okay to feel and embrace the pain, but don't linger there. Don't linger in the place of pain. Remember, for Hannah, she cried, 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 and once she was told, go, the Lord has heard your prayer, she started eating and she was no longer sad. So do the same. Embrace your pain, pour it out. And I want to continue this from a conversation, and I'm glad Fatma is here on toxic relationships. Just go listen to that, but it's the same thing. You have to want better for yourself. Demonstrate grace and humility. Is it easy to turn the other cheek? No, but do it with grace and humility. Why? You're building a brand. You're building a personal brand. You may attract being bullied and being because you're not taunting back, but that's okay. Just remain because you're showing the fruit of the Spirit. Just demonstrate grace and humility. And then again, don't miss your current blessings as you're waiting on God's next or His response. And guard your heart, guard your reputation. Don't be vengeful, don't be bitter, because you're the one who is getting hurt, not the other person. The other people sleep very well. You're the one who is left brewing on the inside. Just guard your heart. And then when opportunity presents itself, seize opportunities and persistently pursue possibilities before you. We have read in the last two verses that when they went home, Elkanah was with his wife Hannah. And that's how they were able to conceive Samuel. So don't again wait for virgin birth or virgin answers, yeah, in quotes. Um, you have to pursue if you want an answer, pursue the path and plan that God requires so that all these things come to fruition. I like this quote by Jonathan Edwards. He wrote the book Charity and Its Fruits. Charity is another name for love, that we are all called to bear our injuries with joy, patience, love, and gentleness. These taunts, these I'm better than you, I'm better than you, they're hurting. But if you're a child of God, we are called to bear these injuries with joy, patience, love, and gentleness, which is not something we give ourselves. It's something that God gives us through the power of the Holy Spirit. So don't taunt back, don't be vengeful, don't humiliate, don't demean. Yes, we look like idiots sometimes, but this is what the Lord demands of us. But He gives us inward joy that cannot be understood. And that thing that you desire for, He will give you in His own time. All right. And it will make sense then. So, ladies, be very clear where you are, where you want to go, and then be ready for God to refine you through the process. Part of the refinement process of Hannah was the taunts from Peninnah. In fact, there are people, when I was doing research, are saying, actually, there is nothing wrong with Peninnah. Peninnah was actually pushing Hannah towards the Lord. If that's how we'll take it, fine. Let's say that's how she was refined, because she became closer to her Lord. Refinement, personal growth happens differently. And for those who hang out with me, you know my definition of personal growth. I always say two things happen at the end of personal growth. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Keshi. Thank you for joining me. Yeah, two things happen. Number one, you're transformed. You're no longer the same. Hannah was no longer the same. Before, when she was being taunted, she was not eating and she was just crying all the time. But once she went and just poured herself before the Lord and she was encouraged by Eli, we are told she started eating and she was no longer sad. Through the refinement process, just allow the Lord to transform you. And what happens as you're transformed? You live a fulfilled life. Are you there yet? No. But you're enjoying levels of fulfillment and contentment, even as you're growing towards that big thing that you desire for yourself or for your family. Yeah, so don't lose sight of that. Don't lose sight of your growth as you're doing that. Yeah, so I just wanted to share that. I hope that you've been encouraged by the story of Hannah and the story of Peninnah. I hope that you're going to be responding differently. I hope that you're going to trust God. I hope that even if somebody taunts you and keeps saying, I'm better than you, I'm better than you, while you're going to feel the pain, and for like some of us who cry immediately, if you're going to cry, it is okay, but don't do it back to them. If you're feeling hurt, then don't want another person to feel the same way. What you need to know is that God is in control. He's handling it. He's got you covered, and He will answer your prayer in due time. All right. So, as a reminder, because today we are just doing mom up, the life you desire is within reach. Hannah just wanted a son. As you saw her prayer, she just said, "You just give me a son, and I promise if you give me this son, I will bring him to the tabernacle. I'll just give him to you. He wouldn't even have to cut his hair." She just wanted the taunting to stop. And she asked for a son. But do you know what, guys? In the end, Hannah had 6 children. She just asked for a son. She believed God for a son. And God gave her 3 more sons and 2 daughters. So she had 6 children. When you allow God, when you trust God, He goes above and beyond. Whether it's in your business, in your relationships, your children, God goes above and beyond what it is that you've asked. And so, even as we end today's Mama, we said that Peninnah, her brand was that she was an unloved second wife. She was a mother of children we do not know. She was a tormentor of Hannah. And as we conclude just those few verses from First Samuel, we find that for Hannah, number one, she kept her promise. She was a lady who kept her promise. And at 3 years old, she took her son Samuel to the Lord's tabernacle so that he was able to serve there. And then she was a prayerful woman. She was a loved wife. And then she was a mother of 6. And more than that, God did. I don't think she knows this, but you know what? Her son is the one who anointed David. Like, how awesome. And also Samuel. Like, I mean, that her son got to anoint an ancestor of Jesus. Like, Samuel is part of Jesus' story. Your children God has big plans for them. God has big plans for you, things that you do not even know. So instead of taunting back, instead of being vengeful, just wait for, when God gives you and blesses you, He does this in the open and in a way that even makes you shanga. I remember when we were talking with the ladies, we were just saying that we want to be in that position where when God blesses you and somebody asks, how did you make it happen? You don't even have an answer. You only say God. And so as we finish, ladies, just to encourage you. The thing that you desire, it's within reach. But the way that you're going to get it is not by taunting others, not by making other people feel bad, but by just trusting God. Trust Him, and He will not let you down. So thank you so much. If you want to have conversations, this Q2 up until around mid-July, I'll be taking free conversations so that then I can have people for my classes. But for now, I'm just happy to come back to teaching more and just encouraging you in your personal growth journey. And so part of what happens sometimes is those detours, those bumps, those doubts. But we will all chase them so that you live a life that is transformed and a life of fulfillment. So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for those hanging out with me on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and also on Facebook, and those who are going to join me later, who are going to join later in the replays. This has been beautiful. I feel encouraged as well, and I hope that that's something that you feel too. So thank you so much, and may the Lord God bless you. Bye.